It's a big book, as you can see. Today I thought I'd show you a few pages from this great book that we all got back in the early 80s. And this is the Frank Thomas Ollie Johnston book, The Illusion of Life, Disney Animation. And this was the book back then. So many examples of what Disney animation was all about and how to do it. It's a background and setup for Pluto cartoon there. This is Pinocchio running. Starts with a silhouette, rough animation, cleanup, into final ink and paint color. So what they do is go through what animation is all about, and then they start showing you examples of some of the great Disney animation, like this by a guy named Fred Spencer of Donald, and how upset he gets when he is losing a golf game and he breaks the club over his knee. For many of us, this is the first time we had seen anything like this. And here they're going through some of the early days of Mickey animation. And this is from Peter Pan. And it's Ollie Johnston animating Mr. Smee and Captain Hook. Compare that to some early animation from way back. Here's some more by Norm Ferguson, who would draw these really great rough drawings. As you see, they're not very detailed, they're very rough, and yet they get the point across as to what's going on. And some rough drawings of the dwarves by Fred Moore, one of the great animators. Some animation by Bill Titla of two of the dwarves. I guess that's Doc holding Dopey, or maybe he's holding Sneezy, I don't know. It's Dopey because there's Dopey up there. So they go through all these different types of actions, and then they get on to the 12 principles of animation: squash and stretch, anticipation, staging, straight ahead action, pose to pose, follow through, overlapping, slow in, slow out, arcs, secondary action, timing, exaggeration, solid drawing, and appeal. And then they show you exactly what all of them mean. So here's squash and stretch. There's Minnie stretching Mickey's head. More squash and stretch. Examples of the bouncing ball. There's Oswald, Pete, and another Pete. Pluto. So it just goes through everything you should know about animation by example. Here's Art Babbitt's animation of the Country Mouse from the Country Cousin short. There's some animation down here by Fred Moore of two of the dwarves, Dopey and Sneezy. And we had never seen these drawings before, so it was quite something to see this. Rough drawings of Mickey by Fred Moore. Rough drawings of Donald by Fred Moore from Three Caballeros. So it's a wonderful book. See if you can get your hands on it. If you can get a first edition, it looks a lot better than later editions. They go through the four main animators of the early days: Fred Moore, Bill Titla, Norm Ferguson, and Ham Lusk. They go through all this animation by these guys, show you why they were so great. So many examples here. They go through all of them, the 9 old men, and why they were so great. And they break down what every department does in an animated feature. I think this was my favorite part was doing a pose test. And here's Jose Carioca, different poses. I believe this is by Fred Moore, and then how it corresponds to the exposure sheet. So there's drawing 1 here, drawing 5 should be somewhere down here, 9, 15. So it goes through exactly how these guys figured this out. Just a wonderful book. See if you can get your hands on a copy. Get a copy used if you can of the first edition. Not sure who did this animation, but that may just be, it could be just the poses. But here's the timing for this animation here. And different people time stuff differently. This person puts thumbnail drawings on the X sheet to show what they want to do, what they want to have happen. Here's another part that I liked a lot, which is doing the layout, which they call blue sketch, wherein you make a rough background and then you roughen where the characters are going to move. They do a different color here. The start pose is red, the next pose is yellow, and the last pose is blue. That gives the animator an idea as to where the characters are going to be moving in the scene. Here's a shot of the multiplane camera here. This is regular camera here. Shot from Rescuers. How to use live action when you're doing animation as reference instead of tracing. Rough drawings. Concept drawing by Ken Anderson. Some rough animation drawings here. This was all so new to me when I got this back in the early 80s. I was blown away, and I kind of thought, wow, man, still more to learn? Sheesh. It's unbelievable the stuff that's in here that you could learn from and get so much out of it. There's sections about how to start making your picture. Here's what we do when we made ours. Stuff from Robin Hood. Now, I saw Jungle Book when it came out, and then I didn't see another Disney picture first run until 10 years later with Rescuers. So I missed Robin Hood and Aristocats, and since they take 3 and 4 years to do them, I only missed 2 pictures between Jungle Book and Rescuers. Here's breakdowns actual animation by Ollie Johnston of Prince John wearing the crown. And you see the animation drawings. He turns his head and he goes through dialogue and then turns back this way. Such careful drawing. Here's a dog talking from 101 Dalmatians, animated by John Lounsbury. It's just incredible the amount of work that goes into making a fine animated picture the Disney way. So much work, so much time, so much effort. There's a couple of good drawings by Ollie Johnston of the Prince, going from one extreme to another. Such a great book. And soon after this book came out, another one came out by John Canemaker. This one is called Disney Treasures of Disney Animation Art. There's that Pinocchio running across the screen again. This book is really big.